Well, today we're going to catch up to Project 3, finish Part 2 of that, and then we'll almost be done with our spreadsheets. We just have one little project in the cloud as we work with spreadsheets of other forms. So let's get to our Excel project, and we'll review a few things such as the conditional formatting and that if formula, and then the last big concept of this Excel part is the what if analysis. How in the world would that work? So let's open up our previous homework. I made it, I saved it as EX3J Smart. And here is where we ended last time. I want to review how in the world this formula here works. I have a formula there that says if B4 greater than or equal $B $21, comma $B $20, comma 0. What in the world does that mean? And I did have a little note there that, what does the note explain? As I hover over that, I see that I get the bonus only if the revenue up there in B4 has exceeded, I should say has met or exceeded. Let's edit that note to make that correct. I can click on edit comment, has met or exceeded the revenue for bonus. Any cell you can put a note on just by right clicking, insert comment. So that comment shows up when I hover over that. Let's just review that whole if formula, and I decided to make for you a little explanation here. Let's see if this will work for us. I did a presentation, a slideshow in Google Docs, and gonna present that and hit F11 to go full screen and turn on my pen so I can mark this up. So here is the formula. If B4 greater than B21, that should have said greater than or equal, comma B20, comma 0. Here's a graphical way to kind of display that function. That I have a question. Is my sales revenue greater than or equal to 1,250,000? Well, where is this number here? Well, that number is what I have saved in my assumptions table. So this is what's over there in cell B21. And the dollar signs mean I'm planning to copy this formula, and I don't want the B21 to change. Remember, the dollar sign means I'm ready to copy this formula. I want that to stay or stick to a B. And I want the 21 to stick to be stay 21. That's all the dollar signs are ever for, is when I'm planning to copy the formula, I want the reference here not to change because my assumptions table does not move to the next month. My assumptions table always stay in the same place. Now if B4, that's where the sales revenue is, so I'll put B4, reminding myself that's where the B4 comes from. That's where I have the location of my sales revenue. So B4 greater than B21. If that question is answered yes, well then the result of the formula is what is in B20. And so that's where the bonus value is set in my assumptions table over there in B20. And the same thing with the dollar signs. As I copy this formula, the B and the 20 do not change. They do not move relative to my formula. The default is relative addressing. The sticky means B does not change as I copy the formula. And the 0 means, well, no, I don't get a sales revenue, and not getting this, or not getting the bonus means I get a 0. So I have to put 0 there, or I'll get the word false instead, which counts as a number, but it looks goofy on my counting table. So I say the value is 0 otherwise. So this formula is something that a lot of people, you don't use very often, but government forms or places where there's a condition and the formula might be different based on a condition, it's common enough in Excel that they made that a thing in Excel. So that's the formula that we have right over here. So just reviewing this formula right here. And the assumption is down there in B21, the margin, or there's the bonus. There's the bonus I get. If I ever decide to change my bonus, well, the if formula would show a different bonus. Just for fun, let's just say we decide to give a larger bonus, double the bonus, 10,000. I hit enter, and now I see, yes, they do get that larger bonus up there in the calculation of their bonus for that month. And I can Control Z, go back to the $5,000 bonus, and there's a $5,000 bonus. Now I see in this table, as I zoom out a little bit here, that I have not yet filled in my amounts for the other months. Well, let's copy that over by clicking that formula, grabbing the fill handle, and dragging it over to the other months. And I see my salary does change. It goes up and down relative to the revenue, because the formula, if I click on the formula, it's what's in row 4 times my percent of salary of the revenue. I'm basing my salary on the revenue that came in for the month. So salesmen, they get salary based on the percentage of revenue. Now you might say, well, that's not the way I want to run my business. Well, that's the way this particular example has. And we're going to fill handle over. I can do one row at a time, or select them all and fill handle over with the narrow plus symbol. Now we are missing a formula for my operating income. Let's get our operating income, and then we will complete the formatting of this table. So the formula for operating income, as I go down through it, is my margin minus my total expenses. So I put here, I'll zoom in a little bit here for you. In the operating income for, we'll only worry about January for now. Operating income is equal to, type the equal sign, it's equal to my gross margin there in B6. I click on that, it puts a B6 in for me, and I subtract my total expenses that are there in B14. You could either click or type B14. That's my calculation for my operating income, and I don't put any dollar signs because it moves with the month. And click and fill handle over to column G. So now I have calculated my operating income for every month. My formulas for the expenses are based on assumptions in my assumptions table. And don't worry if you see pound signs there, that's because the zoom I'm at, suddenly the numbers are too big or small. It's kind of crazy how they come and go as I zoom in at different levels. So now we have our formulas correct. Now we need to do a little bit of totalizing across the rows. And total is real easy to do. I click here and come to my little friend, the sigma. And there I have the summation. It guesses the right numbers to sum the numbers in those rows. And I hit enter, and it does the calculation. Do the same thing here. I can click, get the summation. Yep, hit enter. Summation. Oh, that wants to sum the top things. No, I don't want that summation. I want it to be the same formula this summation. So instead of H4, H5, which it is showing, I select through the correct numbers to add together. The summation of all my gross margins should give me the proper total gross margin. See how summation doesn't always guess the right numbers because there's numbers all around. It looked up first and guessed that I wanted to add those numbers together. I had to correct that by clicking and dragging through the correct cells to do the summation of. And we'll do the summation of the bonus. And this time, after doing that, I'm going to fill handle that down because I want it to be the summation of the row to the left. And click on that and summation of all my operating incomes. And let's check to see the numbers in the book just to make sure I got the numbers right. Yes. So if you don't have the same number I do right here, check your other numbers and your formulas and see if they're matching. If you got perhaps an incorrect entry. I'm going to zoom here, double click on the row to make sure you see all the numbers. There are my numbers for the entire projected 6 months. That is the key number. If this number is coming out right for you, then you likely have your other formulas correct. Give you a little chance to take a look at that. And now we're ready to format our table. We're going to add a little eye candy first. Column I has a little chart. Now we can do graphs which are more meaningful, but they want to let you see what you can do with a chart. I'm going to enlarge that column and show you what a sparkline chart is. I can come over here and insert, and there's little charts, little sparkline charts they like to introduce you to. These are called sparkline charts. Let's see what happens to get a sparkline chart. I click on the cell I want to put a chart in, and let's see, I think they initially start with a line chart. Yeah, we're going to do a line chart just by clicking that cell and clicking line. It pops up this little create sparklines dialog. I need to know what data range I want to have for my chart. Well, the data range is going to be my revenue for January through June, not the total. How do I get the data range? Well, I could type B4 colon G4, or just point and drag through those numbers, those cells, and it fills that in for me, B4 colon G4. And since I am in the cell where I want to show the sparkline chart, I don't have to put a location range. I can just click OK, and it puts the sparkline chart right in the cell that I had selected. And because I want to chart, well, let's do that again for practice. Click on the cell where I want to have a sparkline chart. Go to Insert, and I'm going to choose the line sparkline and choose my data range of the numbers I want to chart. And I hit Enter or OK, and I get a sparkline. They look very much the same because they're pretty much based on that first line of revenue. Everything is a kind of a percentage of revenue. And if I want to do that without going through the process, I can simply copy paste. And I'm going to copy paste. I'm going to Control C copy, Control C copy, and Control V paste, and Control V paste to give me sparkline charts. And they're all the same. Here I see that, yes, the revenue or the bonus does drop. Otherwise, they all look about the same. So this is more about just learning how to do sparkline charts. I don't think they're terribly useful to an accountant, but they give a little eye candy to your spreadsheet. And as we adjust our sparkline charts, I can select through all of those by clicking and then shift clicking. And I can change my sparkline chart over here and adjust the style of chart. Suppose I want to chart a different color. I could change my color. Or if I decide, as they do in the book, they decide that I want to change it from a line chart to a column chart. Well, I can, while I have them selected, I can choose a column chart instead, and they turn to column charts. Now, to me, they're pretty much useless either way, but they do add a little bit of interest of, oh yes, they give you kind of an idea of the numbers to the left. I'm not sure how many professional accountants actually use sparkline charts. They're somewhat interesting. More of just a little decoration. So you can choose them and then adjust their properties in the chart here. Choose a style, choose how the column works. Lots of options there for your sparkline chart. And now let's do some regular formatting, just like we did with the other ones. After adding our components here, let's add let's see here, we would like to, we're not going to merge and center the title because that would wipe out the date that we have over here. So instead of merging and centering, we're just going to apply the title style to that cell. And we'll allow it to overlap because we don't have anything else in these other cells. So under the home page, I can choose cell style of title. And I think I even want it bigger. Let's enlarge that to make a nice looking title. Let's increase the font size a bit. And let's make it bold. And let's do the same thing to the 6-month financial projection. Let's make that title, or let's see, do we have a subtitle? We don't have a subtitle. Let's just make that, well, let's make that a heading 4. That's a good subtitle. I could make it a title and reduce the font size. Let's make it a heading 4. I would like it to be indented a little bit. Let's see if we can increase the indent on that. There we go. Looks a little better. Now, let's zoom out just a bit so we can see our full chart. Let's make these cells by selecting through them. Let's put them in a cell style. Let's see what looks best. We have rotated the names. Let's see. How about heading 2? That looks pretty good. Heading 3, they get a little small. Heading 1. Heading 1 or 2 look about the same. Let's go with heading 1. No, let's go with heading 2. And these row headings, select through all of those, and let's make those bold. Control B. And now, like we did with all the numbers, let's first put all our numbers in comma format. By selecting through all our numbers, verifying yes, we're dealing with dollars here. Let's first put them all in comma format. Then let's put these in total style. Selecting through and click cell style total. And let's put these in total style. Actually, let's include the title of the row all the way out. Let's put that in total style. Operating income, we're going to highlight that. That's a very important number. So let's put that in. Let's see, what do we have? Some special styles here. Let's try the blue. Let's not make it too dark. I don't like it too dark. Let's do the 20% blue. And let's make that bold by hitting Control B. And let's also put a few of these rows in accounting format. They would like this row. I'm going to Control select this row and Control select this row and one more Control select these rows and turn that into accounting format. That same thing except with a little dollar sign to the left, so it reminds us we're dealing with dollars. In the book they like this. I prefer maybe only the very top row, but we'll do what they show in the book of putting a dollar sign accounting format at the top and the totals. So now it's looking pretty good. Oh, let's do a shading here. Even though we're not merging and centering, let's do a shading all the way across the table width of the first 2 rows, and let's apply a shading of that same light blue. Financial people like blue. For some reason, blue implies purity and integrity in your numbers. So we're looking pretty good now. Proper calculations. We have assumptions. We've shaded that table. Let's put a border around that table. Let's select that table, and let's put a border around that whole table. A nice thick border to remind us that assumptions table is important. And now we have projected revenue for Manola Department Stores, January to June, based on these assumptions. So we're doing pretty good, but we'd like now to play with our assumptions and find out, what if we made a change in one of our assumptions here? What would the results be? Let's give this sheet a name by double-clicking on the name. Let's call this the original. Original projections. Now you can, in a meeting with someone watching over your shoulder, you could make changes to this, and then you'd see the change in the operating income. But if you want to have someone that wasn't at the meeting understand what you did, you would want them to see, first of all, what your operating income was initially, what change you made, and what were the results. The easiest way to do that is, let's make a duplicate of this page. Then we can play with that second page and always come back and see what were our original assumptions. How do we make a duplicate? It's easy peasy. Right click on the tab and we want to move or copy. So I'm going to click move or copy. I'm going to not move it. I'm going to move to the end, and I'm going to click create a copy. I'm not going to move it. I'm making a copy, and it's going to be at the end of the list of sheets. I click OK, and now I have a second sheet, and rather than an original 2, let's call this what if 1. I'm going to call it what if 1. Because I have correctly referenced my assumptions, let's see what happens if I make some changes. And we'll make the changes as designated in the textbook here, to make some changes in the assumptions here. We've done all the styling, adding formats, and we've formatted the assumptions table. We'll come back and make a chart later, and now we want to do our what if analysis. During the meeting, the boss asks, what if we change something? What if we change our assumptions here? Right now, we have a bonus of 5,000. What if we wanted a different bonus? Well, I go to my copy of my first sheet and say, okay, boss, you want another bonus? Let's see what happens if we increase the bonus to 7,500. Type 7,500, hit enter. I immediately see the revenue go to 3,315,000, and I click on the original chart and see that it was originally 3,323,000. So our revenue went down, which makes sense. We're given a little bit more bonus. What if we changed our marketing down there in B22? What if we changed our salary to 25% instead of 20%? Well, that means we're paying people more. That's going to increase our expenses. Our operating income should go down. Let's see what happens. Change that to 35%, or sorry, to 25% from 20. Yes, revenue went down below 3 million. And now let's say B25, change miscellaneous expenses to 3.5%. Get a little handle on miscellaneous. That should increase our revenue because we're spending less on miscellaneous. And yes, we do see the revenue goes back above 3 million. So because we've made our formulas all depend on the assumptions by properly putting in those stickies, we now can modify our assumptions and see the changes in our final months, our 6-month operating income. And I can always go back to my original sheet and see what my original settings were. So the key to the what if analysis is what changes were made and what was the result. So in this case, I'm going to highlight where we made changes. That cell we made a change. I'm going to control select that cell we made a change and control select that cell. And let's highlight them how about highlight them with yellow, just to emphasize those are where what the changes were made. If I want to review what the originals were, let's do this. Let's do previous. Let's copy what the previous values were and place them here. Well, I go to the original. I can do this. I can say equal, and I can go point to that row there and hit enter. It shows what the value was on the previous sheet. Look at that. I can actually refer to a cell on another sheet. It goes equal and then the name of the other sheet and then exclamation point and the address in the other sheet. And I can copy that down to show you what all the values were in the previous worksheet. And for some reason, it thinks they need to be in percentage for those two numbers. Let's change those back to comma format. So this shows me, oh, and actually I could put the original, how about we put the original here? We'll write original. The original income was equal, and I can then click back here and click on that cell right there and show that my original income was $3,323,048. So these are very useful to show you what changes were made and what the resulting changes were. So what if analysis is original values in some way illustrated, what changes were made, and then what were the results. That's all a what if analysis is. What changes did you make and what were the results? And by highlighting the previous values in my assumptions, highlighted in yellow what the changes were, and let's go ahead and highlight, I guess we could highlight this of here's what the change was in operating income. We'll just highlight that in yellow too. So here's my changes. Here is the result. I decreased my overall revenue by about $300,000 by making these three changes. Increase the bonus, that means I spent a little bit more on bonus. Increase the salary, spent more on salary. Decrease miscellaneous to try to save me some, so it didn't go down as far as it could have. So this is all a nice way to show, by making a copy of your original sheet, referencing the changes or the previous values. Remember how I can do that? I can simply say equal and type equal and then point to the address of that cell in the original sheet, and I can show you the previous values. So what if analysis, as long as you can in some decent understandable way show to your accountants what changes were made and what were the results. And here we see the results changed. Our operating income went down. Now we're not quite done. One more thing to do. After we've done a little bit of experimenting, we want to do a goal seek. So let's make another copy of our original and let's do a goal seek. So let's click on the original, right click, let's make another copy of that by right click move or copy. We're going to move it to the end. That means it's going to show up on the very far right, and we're going to make a copy of it. We're not moving it. And let's rename it by double clicking here. Let's rename it goal seek. And now I can do my goal seek. I can even freeze the original if I wanted. I can actually protect this worksheet by protecting the whole thing, but we'll skip that for now. Let's go to our goal seek copy of the original, and here is our goal seek. Goal seek. The question is, what do we want to do? We want to seek a revenue of 3.5 million by changing our site rental fees. We're hoping, can we reduce our site rental fees to give us 3.5 million in revenue? So here's our goal seek. What site rental percent will help us achieve a revenue, operating income of 3,500,000? That is the question. Well, I could mess with site rental percent by coming here and let's say, well, let's reduce site rental let's reduce it to 5%. Hit enter. Oh, look, if we go 5%, we go above 3.5 million. Well, that might be hard to negotiate. How about 6%? Looks like 7%. We can mess with this manually and say, well, it's somewhere between 7 and 8%. If I set 8%, my revenue is below 300,000. If I set it at 7%, my revenue is above 3,500,000. Can we let Excel calculate it exactly for us, rather than me tweaking this number until I get closer and closer to 3.5 million? Well, because this is a common thing to do, we can do this with Excel. In the data section, what if analysis, goal seek. So I have this, it doesn't matter where I have the cell, but let's just say I want to go to operating income. I'm going to select operating income at the end of the 6 months, the total operating income. Let's now do a goal seek on what if analysis, goal seek. Because I'm here, it already puts in the address of the cell that I'm at. This is where I'm seeking a goal. What goal am I seeking? That is in the to value part of that. I want to seek 3,500,000. That's the goal I'm seeking. Now, in order to achieve that 3.5 million, what cell do I want to change? Now, it's a little simplistic. You would be likely negotiating more than just site rental, but Excel lets you goal seek based on one cell's value, and that value is what's over there in B23. I can just click here and then click on the B23. It puts the address of that cell in there for me, and now we'll let Excel try to figure out what exact value of site rental will get me to $3.5 million of operating income. Now I know that should be possible because I've messed with it myself, and I can see by changing site rental, it does have an effect on operating income. Now let's hit OK and see what Excel can do for us. It figured out exactly 7.73%, and I think it goes beyond 2 decimals. That will give me an exact operating income of 3,500,000. If I'm happy with that, I can click OK, and I will see that by changing this value here, I'm going to go ahead and highlight that in yellow to make it clear to anyone looking at this. That's the value that was found with goal seek. I'll put a little note there. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to add a comment right here. I'm going to right click, insert comment, found via goal seek. Now let's do that again with another goal seek, just to give you a little practice. Gonna go ahead and again make a copy of the original and do a different goal seek. And let's see, since this was the goal I was seeking, I'm gonna go ahead and highlight that in yellow, just to make it clear, this is what made the change to that. Let's make another copy of the original, right click, move or copy, Move to the end, create copy. Okay, and let's give it the name GoalSeek2. Now this time, let's see if we can achieve an operating income of 4 million. And let's see, how about we're gonna be greedy bosses. Let's see if we can reduce salary. What salaries could we reduce to give us a better operating income? We're gonna be a mean boss. We don't care that they're gonna be discouraged. We figure they're such dedicated salespeople. They're gonna be willing to give up their salary. Let's see if we can do a goal seek. Okay, this time data, what if analysis, goal seek. We're gonna again, because I was there, it puts the set cell here. That's H16. I want to have a value of 4 million this time. By changing cell, the percent of salary that I'm paying. I could have just manually changed that, but we're going to let Excel find exactly what percentage of salary will get us exactly 4 million in operating income after 6 months. I click OK. And it finds out that, oh, if we reduce salary percent we're paying to 11% of our revenue, we will achieve 4 million in operating income at the end of 6 months. And I'm going to highlight that, inform all our salespersons that they are now reducing their salary because our investors are going to sell our company unless we can achieve a operating income of 4 million by the end of 6 months. So there's the change I made. There's the result. Let's do the what if analysis on that. Let's show the original by typing equal and then click on the original. There's what the original was, 20%. And let's type the original here by clicking here and type equal and then original. There's my original operating income. So there's the changes. There is the results. But I did this using a goal seek. Let's do again. I'm going to right click, add a note or add comment. Found using goal seek. And I can just tell those salesmen, well, Excel told me based on goal seek that's what we had to reduce your salary percentage to in order to achieve the 4 million in operating income. So goal seek can be very handy. It is a little limited though. You can only change one thing. In the real life, you'd say, well, what can we reduce salary by a little bit, and then rental by a little bit, and marketing by a little bit? Can you give a combination? Well, no. Excel only knows how to change one thing to do the goal seek. So you still would have to manually, and you could manually set a few things and then say, well, Excel, find the exact value on one of these. So goal seek is limited, but it gives you a way to let Excel calculate exactly what it would take to achieve a goal without you having to manually tweak it little by little to find the exact number. So now you are experts on goal seeking. And let's see, what else do we need to do here? Let's check. Oh, we need to go now and make a chart. We would like a chart of the expenses across multiple categories. These will be the titles of my various categories. We want to see expenses projected for each of the month out through June. So I want to see these as the titles, and these would be the sizes of the column. Now, because all of these cells are connected, I can simply select this entire set of cells. Do not select the total cell, or total column. We want to create a chart of our expenses in these categories. Well, watch how easy I can do this. I can go to Insert. Let's see what charts it might recommend. And right away, it recommends this type of chart or this type of chart. Clustered column chart Let's do the second choice, clustered column chart. And now I see, let's go ahead and click OK. I have a chart. Let's give it a title of projected expenses. And I don't need to format anything right now. Let's go ahead and move this to a separate worksheet. Click on that, or right click on that and move chart. Let's move it to a new sheet and let's call it projected expenses. I click OK. And now I have projected expenses on a separate page. Let's increase the font size on that title by double clicking the title and Control Shift greater than. Let's see here. The legend is really poor. Let's see what other styles I have to give me a better understanding of what colors mean what, because I can hardly read those colors. Let's see what other styles we have. If I hover over a style, oh, I guess I have to deselect. Let's see if I go back to select and hover over a style. There we go. Let's see. That one's showing the numbers. I don't need to see the numbers. I more want to make sure I can tell what each column means. And if it doesn't give me a good look, let's see what other styles I have here. I'm thinking I might have to manually have the column label listed. I don't like that legend at all. Let's see, which one should we pick? I think that's kind of cool looking, little gradient there in the background. Let's pick this one and let's adjust the look of that one. We don't need to see the numbers. Let's come over here and let's adjust our data here. Let's see on the data labels. Let's click over here. Let's say the data, we don't need to see the values. If we don't show the data labels, yeah, there's gone. Grid lines, legend, I don't need to see the legend. Axes titles, let's see, that might be, let's see, that's, so it's dollars, data labels. Horizontal title, that would be categories. I was hoping for labels here. That's the data labels. Legend, let's see what legend can give me. Right, top, bottom, more options for legend. Let's see here. It's not giving me a good choice. I wanted to have my data labels. Let's try that again here. Legend, I don't want a legend. I want to show, oh, the data table. That's sort of interesting. Let's turn on data table. That's impressive. Data labels. Let's try more options. I want the category listed here. Value from, there it is. Category name, not the value. And let's put it at the end. Inside, no. Onside center. Label position. Label options. I just want the series name. I don't need the value. Now, the data labels aren't coming out the way I'd like. It's pretty messy table. I wanted the columns to have the labels on them. It's not coming out the way I like. Options on the data labels. Value from cells. No, I don't want that. Let's see. Series name. Category name. Can't even read that. Value. Yeah. It's not adjusting the way I'd expect. Yeah, labels aren't coming out in the right place. Let's try something different here. Let's see. Now I've messed with my labels, and they're really looking ugly now. Let's see if I turn them off. They're not going away like I expect them to. I guess I'll leave it like that. Don't worry. Just know that you can mess with your style of chart. And it looks like clustered column charts. I haven't figured out how to get them listed. I prefer just the name of the column. I don't need to see the number, but it's not as easy to make. It's more viewable. These options aren't coming out the way I expect here. I don't want to format the chart area. Let's see. Data labels, I'll turn them off. I can turn them all off completely, but if I try to adjust them, I get crazy things, and they don't go away like I expect. So I'm just going to turn them off completely. Turn off data labels. I do like the data table. I'll leave the data table. It's kind of cool looking. I don't like the legend and axes chart titles. The axes title, I don't think I need that. We'll leave it at that. A little cleaner looking graph. Let's see, I can adjust it. Let's see, can I stretch it left and right? Look at that. You can adjust. You can stretch the. Oh, I thought I could stretch it. It's not letting me adjust its size. Only things inside of it I can move around like that. I can't adjust the size of my chart. Okay. So remember how you created the chart. And let's see, where is our chart? Yeah, projected expenses. It became a chart. I'm going to drag that all the way to the right. That'll be the last chart. So we have our original. We did a what if, highlighting the changes. Goal seek. Put a label on what Excel did a goal seek for. Seeking a final revenue of $3,500,000. Goal seek 2 showed what I did a goal seek on, and also showed my original. Oh, that's something I forgot to do on this goal seek. But we are done. Just gave you a little extra practice on goal seeking. Save that, and it's ready to upload for your finished project 3. The next project we'll be doing a little spreadsheet in the cloud to give you some taste of something other than Excel. So that one is complete, ready to upload. Ready to upload to Schoology. And have a wonderful day. I'll update this